Forest Hill, walking poles, not crutches. Wish me luck. If everything in life was easy, we'd all be super successful. Oh my God. I knew that walking with poles rather than crutches would be harder, but holy hell, it is a million times harder because I don't have the same lean on the walking poles as I do on the crutches. The leg didn't stop me. My fitness did, and I had to sit down a few times, prop against posts and things, to put the leg back on, because it seems repetitive bending with a limb sleeve is not going to work. So when we get to running blades, it's going to have to be a pin lock. And I'm actually wondering whether my next walking leg also needs to be a pin lock, or maybe a pin lock sleeve combo, because obviously my activity level is too high for this system to be able to stay on. So there we go. But I made it to the top of Forest Hill, 31 minutes. I don't really care how long it takes. I passed, well, no, I didn't. They passed me, a father and maybe a young girl, running up and down this hill multiple times. Do you know what? I don't care, because I got to the top. I don't care how slow it was, because I did it. I did it anyway. And we've just got to keep pushing the boundaries in order to make improvements. It's always worth the climb for this view. I probably need to do this more often, because when I'm wandering around in everyday life, I kind of just don't really think about the artificial leg anymore. It just is what it is. But I haven't walked on hills very much, and the foot behaves entirely differently on a hill. So walking downhill, I have got to keep my legs straight and wait for the hydraulic foot to reach the floor. So the hydraulics do the work. On the way up, it does not dorsiflex enough. So I have to walk up steep hills after I get to a certain gradient as if I'm on my toes. So I've got to keep my knee bent so that I can keep going, because the foot won't bend that far and it'll just throw me backwards. Pretty hard, actually. Round the block on my bike, because it's dry. We're in lockdown level 4, and round the block is all I can do. But it's a good little exercise for my leg. This is the first time outside on a bike with this bike leg, and my left quad gets tired really fast, and all the muscles that aren't meant to take over really fast. So more practice needed. Lockdown day 3, and I've decided today to have a go on Zwift. So we've got the bike leg, and I've changed the foot. The feet change over with an Allen key, and this is the mountain bike foot, and the other one is the road bike foot. So I'm taking this opportunity whilst we have lockdown to get my leg used to cycling, because it takes me a few kilometres to switch on the right muscles. So this is a good opportunity to work on that and find out where my limits are, because I don't have anything else to do in the day physically. I was going to go for a walk today, but then it started chucking down. And then when I got on the bike to start on Zwift, the sun came out. Wouldn't you just know? Anyway, we get news in half an hour as to whether we stay in lockdown. Personally, I think we will. Today is Saturday. It's a lovely sunny day. I like to go anywhere. I live out of town, so I'm only allowed to stay in my neighbourhood, and my neighbourhood is a main road, And a side track, which I'm on now, she goes to a farm. So I'm just going to have to walk down here as far as I can get, turn around and go back. And if that's not far enough, do it again. But when needs must. It's not that exciting because over there is the train tracks and the sales yards. So the scenery could be better. But on the plus, I've actually never walked down this road before because I've never had the need to. This is what you do when you're in lockdown. Sunday. Got to admit, I'm dreading this. It's the first time I've been out since the lockdown was declared on Wednesday, and I'm going to the supermarket. And I actually have my crutches with me because I've got no idea how long the queues are going to be to get in and to get to the tills and things like that, and I don't do standing still very well. It's the first time I've taken my crutches in a long time, so fingers crossed it's not too crazy. Fingers crossed my decision to carry on as normal and do my shopping on a Sunday like I always would does not mean that the crazy people have emptied the shelves. No queue. This is excellent. Well, New Zealand, I have got to say I'm pretty impressed. There was no queues at the supermarket. The security guy on the door said everybody had been behaving all right. The supermarket wasn't that crowded. It was quite calm. There was only one person before me when I got to the till. I could get everything that I wanted to get. And the one thing I couldn't get, I was looking for wholemeal wraps, and I was perfectly happy with some other type of wrap. The staff lady went out into the back and got some more wraps and found a box of wholemeal. So I got everything that I wanted to get, which I was pretty impressed about. There are some shelves that are a bit less stocked than usual, but there wasn't very few, if anything, that there was nothing of. So well done, New Zealand, for not having a panic attack. Or should I say, well done, the Republic of South Island, for staying calm. Today, I'm going to tackle a virtual duathlon. I was meant to do duathlon number 3 today, but we couldn't do it, of course, because New Zealand is still in lockdown. It's a shame, really, because I was going to give this bike a go outside, but that'll have to wait. So I don't have anybody here with me that could be a handler, so I've had to adapt what I'm doing in order to tackle it. And here's what I'm planning. So at the moment I have my shoes on, my triathlon gear with a t-shirt over the top, and I am going to use the crutches, which are out there by the door, and I'm going to walk out the door, which is just there, down the road for 500 meters and back for 500 meters. That'll hopefully bring me back to the front door. The transition will be in here, so I have got my bike leg and the liner for it right there, and a towel if I need it, and then the bike is over there and it is connected to Zwift and ready to go. So I get on the bike, press start, and cycle 7 kilometers on Zwift. I then have to get off, put this leg back on, collect those crutches from over there, and off I go out the door again, another 500 meters down, another 500 meters back. I am not going to be taking my camera or taking any pictures or anything like that. I'm hoping that it all goes smoothly, and that the way I've set my Garmin up is correct. And yeah, I will see you on the other side. So the duathlon went all right in the end. I had to stop and start the watch because I mucked up the timing, but I've managed to add it all together and it comes to 53 minutes and something or other seconds in total. I'm not really caring too much about the time. I didn't walk as fast as I had on the last duathlon. That's because I've done more this last few days on the leg than I probably have ever had, because, well, I've got nothing else to do. So tomorrow I'm going to have a rest. Yes. And figure out something else to do that doesn't involve active movement. So the other thing that I haven't mentioned that happened that was quite exciting was I managed to attract the attention of the Zwift platform by complaining all the time about having no amputee avatar. I tag them in every single time I post about it on Instagram, and they usually reply. Whoever it is that's operating the account normally replies. But this time I got an email asking me whether I'd be happy to talk to them. And I thought, yes, well, of course I'd be happy to talk to them. So they have, oh, cat. They have given an intern the job of investigating this whole thing and finding out how it might work if we were to add some disability avatars in. He was asking my opinion. Now, that is really damned exciting. They were asking things like, should people apply or should it be an automatic selection? And I said, definitely apply, because then you know that people that have got amputee avatars actually are amputees and aren't like these fetish people or anything like that. And yeah, all sorts of things. We were talking about hand bikes, and we're also talking about tandems for the blind people. And I suggested there was some way that users could volunteer themselves as a tandem pilot, and then two people are hooked up onto the same bike, and a blind rider gets the chance to talk to somebody who can describe the scenery to them the same way as you would in real life. Now, it's all very well having good ideas like this, but we'll see what happens with the Zwift platform in the future. But it's not before it's time that they've finally decided to address this issue. And I'm so glad that they've spoken to me, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with in the future. Because there's a few times now that I've managed to cycle past people going up hills and things, and I'd like them to know that I'm an amputee as I'm going by. So yes, so I'm feeling pretty chuffed about that. So all in all, the start of lockdown hasn't been too bad, really. We'll see what happens on Monday, but frankly, I think that we are going to end up with a slightly longer lockdown, because the amount of close contacts is now in the thousands, and I think they need to work through all of those people and track them all down and make sure there's no more COVID in the community before they can release any other people out of lockdown. I don't want that to be the answer, but that's what I think. So that rounds up my week. My next week is looking like a much reduced load, which is not necessarily a bad thing for me, because then I can focus on the rehab and not have to worry about all the other stuff. And it means that I'm forced to not overload myself, because I physically can't, because, well, there's nothing to overload myself with, because I'm not allowed to go anywhere. So yes, it's actually worked out quite well for me right now, and I really don't mind the lockdown so far. I've got a lot of little ideas for things that I want to do with my spare time if it continues. And yeah, so we'll see what happens. The next announcement for New Zealand is tomorrow at 3 p.m. So I'm not sure. Fingers crossed that they make the right decision, whatever that might be.